Hey, what's up YouTube? My name's Austin. I have a construction company. I'm a licensed general contractor and plumber. I'm going to show you Big Bertha. She is a 1992 Ford F-150 5.0. I've had her for several years, basically rebuilt her a couple times over. I'm going to go over a little bit about the doodads and maybe the do's and don'ts and some add-ons and just some cool stuff. She has a personality, so if I talk to her like she's a person, that's because she means a lot to me. And, you know, she is like a matriarch. Maybe on another video I'll introduce you to Gina, Nina, and Spiderlina. But this is Big Bertha. So first off, this is basically, go ahead and do a good walk around here of her. So this is a wrap. This isn't even a paint. This was during the pandemic. I decided to get her wrapped. I did a lot of prep on there, and that was about 2,500 bucks. And I really like the way the wrap is turning out. The wrap turned out really well. It does protect her from, you know, rocks and, you know, drywall and paint and that kind of stuff. It's made by 3M. This color is called an atomic blue. I put a rack on her. This is by Smitty built, kind of has that rhino lining. This was kind of like pieced together, and it works out really well. Obviously I need to carry a 24-foot ladder. These were add-ons right here. Get a close look at these ratchets. So these ratchets are kind of cool. They have one of these here, and you pull them off and you can, you know, basically strap anything. I put two on the front right here, and these two, I think what I'm going to do with these ones is I'm going to get a 6-inch ABS and basically have that as like water storage, and then put like a pressure regulator on it, and so that I can, you know, regulate the air, so that I have a nose on it, a water nose, nozzle, whatever you want to call it, so that like I can add water into like drywall or cement or stucco when I'm on those jobs. I have her tinted all the way around. Sometimes I'm in some sketchy areas. There is a front tint on there, so if you try to see inside, it's kind of hard to see. I think that's pretty cool. Check this out. So this is an aftermarket grill. I got online. If you go online, you can check out to see the original, but also check out here. I put these LED lights here, and there's 3 of them here. Go ahead and back up, and I'm going to show you what they look like on. So you can see that looks kind of cool. It kind of has that Raptor feel to it. These are LED lights. I did an LED conversion on those. That's more of a white light. That white light is really nice in, basically in the dark. They light up the sky really well. So at one point there were some lights here. As you see, there's some holes in there. She's been through a lot, but keep in mind she is a daily. It's really nice to have a reliable work truck. I have rebuilt her a couple times. We'll get into more about that later. I have a video of going through all the problems that I had when I first got her. I'll put a link below in the other video that's been kind of popular in diagnosing the 5.0s, especially with the vacuum systems. We have the 50 caliber antenna here. It is support the police. I do support everybody. All lives matter. And this net here, people are tripped out about this net. So people are like, what are you trying to do? Catch a cougar? You know, not metaphorically or literally or anything. But this is 2 tennis nets sewn together, and the reason I like it, it is kind of like a theft deterrent when I go to Home Depot. Sometimes I have some bins in the back, and it makes me feel better, right? It makes me sleep better at night when I'm in Home Depot. Obviously I try to keep the more valuable stuff locked up in the toolbox or in the back of the truck. So when I do demo, for example, another added benefit of having this set up like this is you can go through, like 3 months ago, I have this filled up, and this is basically covering it and make sure nothing flies out on the freeway. And if you've had anything fly out on the freeway, it's a problem. And I've had experience about that, not proud about that, but yeah, so basically a theft deterrent, and just in case I want to catch a lion. I'm just kidding. But yeah, it makes it so debris doesn't spill out. When I got it, these rims were on here. We have the Firestone Destination ATs. I worked for Bridgestone. They're a little bit worn out, but these are good tires. The Firestone Destination ATs is a good combination between being able to perform off-road, and they don't make a lot of road noise, so I'm happy about that. Right here, I have the dual exhaust. Do sound beautiful. Let's go ahead and maybe even turn her on. What do you say? And see what she sounds like. And then we'll go underneath the hood, and then we'll go on the inside. So now that we're here, let's go ahead and listen to her. She rumbles really well. I don't know if you can hear that, but I just love that rumble. You know, that 5.0 rumble, it just sounds amazing. So I'm really happy with that. But everything here has been taken apart and put back together. The panels are going to go next. But come on in here. The lighting I have changed. Go ahead and take a look at these lights. So these LED lights are in all four corners, and I can control that with a switch here. So I wired up these lights, and that kind of matches the aesthetic of the truck. This right here it's a manual, and it is also a four-wheel drive vehicle. And so the nice thing about this, I got a little stash spot right here. I never use it, but yeah, so I upgraded to Bluetooth. So, you know, basically if I want to use my cell phone, and then I have, you know, this, which is real nice and easy. The miles on it is probably right now about 236. I rebuilt the engine at about 206, and the story with that is I got the vehicle with about 190 on it. I did the water pump, diagnosed it. You can reference back to the other video. Basically, the engine went out on me finally at about 206,000. I had it rebuilt. The crankshaft wasn't replaced. There's a lot of play in the crankshaft. It went bad again, so I brought it back, had it warrantied out. But now she's running great. We can review the hood, what's underneath the hood. So I make it difficult to get underneath, but she runs perfect. She purrs like a kitten. Everything's been fully rebuilt. Here's an additional custom add-on here. So if you look at the original, this is not original, but it's almost like these 2-ton jack stands for construction were meant to be here. Especially check out the lever for the two-ton jack stand. It like fits perfectly, and there's like an indentation. But I did have to put an extension on here for this to fit. Obviously I do have a sub. Let's go ahead and check that sub out. But anyways, everything is completely stock. The vacuum system, these were all colored originally, if you know, but those tend to get cracks. So I like to just use these regular vacuum hoses. I've had a lot less issues using these regular vacuum hoses as opposed to the OE colored ones, which I still have a couple of. If you look in here, you can almost see the orange one right back there where my finger is. That's orange. There was green, there's red, there's a few other colors. But I highly recommend for these vehicles to have a high output alternator. So if you have an aftermarket sub, additional lights like I have, you want to have a extra output higher cold cranking amp battery and a higher output alternator. I recommend Rock Auto, but basically everything in here has been replaced except for the AC system. So, you know, that's that. Another cool add-on that I did is I felt like I would turn on my turning signal, and it was hard for people to see because, as you know, these old ones, they only have a blinker right here. But what I did is I added and wired in additional lighting. Go ahead and go in here. You can see the cable right here. That cable actually goes up right here. and becomes an LED. So these are connected to my blinkers and my hazards. So when someone's behind me, they just flash really bright, and I'm really happy with the way those work. And go ahead and come back here, Logan. We got Logan behind the camera. She's a great filmer, photographer, videographer, and so forth. So I have them up nice and high. They're kind of at a 45-degree angle. So if you're on the side, you're going to be able to see me, and if you're on the back, you're going to be able to see me. So that's that. I got the 5.0 license plate cover. This is for the trailer. I bolted this and painted this, but this is wired in everything. I got a trailer, so this thing is pretty good at hauling. It is a 302 is what the engine is. I mean, it has original stock 302 horsepower. And a 5.0, a lot of times people ask, oh, that's the same one as in the Mustang engine. The answer is yes, but the difference between the stock 5.0 in a truck and the stock 5.0 in a car is a truck has bigger heads on the engine, which when you have bigger heads, you're going to reduce the amount of horsepower, but you're going to increase the amount of torque. And in a truck, you want a little bit more torque. And I don't know, correct me for all you, 5.0 experts out there, but the Saline or the Cobra has an aluminum block, and then these ones and the cars like the Mustang 5.0s are actually cast iron. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think we've gone over pretty much everything in here with that. Another cool feature I want to talk to you about is the rack. When I installed it, basically I do carpet demo, and sometimes I'll even do overlanding. I put a 3/4 inch plywood up here so I can stand up here. Look at that, right? Do a little dance, do whatever I need to do. I have camped up times. I used to have the 3/4 inch plywood put right here too, and so my tent actually fits on here, but when it was on over here, it rattled a little too much before I got these right here. Take a look at these. So I put a few of these. This one just holds the net, but I have a few around the back. Go ahead and come over to this back side, and that stops the rattling of when you're driving down the road. That's something I'm big on, is to make sure my trucks don't have a lot of sound driving off the road. See, I do have one of the originals right here, so I wouldn't recommend these. This is for a fence, and so these tend to rattle. So you want something with a rubber grommet between the metal, so it stops it from rattling. So yeah, this platform I'm really happy with, because I'm able to do overland camping on it. I've even set up some chairs and barbecued up here overlooking a lake and on a fishing trip, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, I'd recommend maybe keeping it on the back in case you want to demo carpet. It won't sag. And another thing I was thinking about was doing some kind of 4x8 sheets of plywood and running two this way and having them fold up to kind of have an overland platform that kind of sticks in place. But I'll show you guys that later once I'm done building it, because overland setups are like, $3 grand, $7 grand, $10 grand, whereas in two sheets of plywood, some 2x4s, notch them out, keep it in place, strap it down with these straps that are built in. You can have an overland platform for not that much. Anyways, let's go ahead and go over to the passenger side. I'll show you a couple other inside features. This right here. So these old dashboards, they like to crack, so getting a cover here really increases the aesthetics on the insides and makes it feel a lot more homey. So I'm happy with the way this turned out, and I don't know, it just gives it a good feel. And we have the BFG mats, which this is like similar to the tire tread for all you truck guys, that. But this is where I keep a lot of my tools. If if you're a builder, it's nice to have easy access to all this stuff. So I thought this was a pretty handy, nifty spot. Look, I did wire another light here, so for when I'm working in the dark, that kind of lights up all my tools and stuff, and it goes from there. But check this out. So I actually have an amplifier in here. You know, you got to have your booties for the customers. Check this out, Logan. Come here. So I have an amp inside here. So I have this wired up to the stereo system that you saw that's Bluetooth capable. And then what we have is a capacitor. So we'll go ahead and turn this on, turn the stereo off so we don't have copyright infringement. So take a look at this capacitor right here. This capacitor basically regulates the power output to the sub. I have a sub right here, and that sub is, I believe, a JL audio system, and so that capacitor gives me additional power and lets the sub hit harder without draining the battery, because if you have a subsystem in your work truck without a capacitor, it becomes a major issue. So just 112 or a 10 or whatever that is, it does hit really hard, so it makes working a lot better. Yeah, there's just a few things that I want to upgrade to it. We could talk about that. On this passenger side, there's not an arm rest. That broke off. A few things that I do have to replace on a consistent basis is I do need to adjust the vacuum system. If you have one of these vehicles, you will know that the check engine light does come on fairly regularly if you don't have your vacuum system dialed in. And again, I'll reference that video about diagnosing those. But once you get them dialed in, they sound great, they run great. One thing, these things are super expensive, and I don't know how they always get dinged, but every time I go into a parking lot, it seems like, you know, I get a new dent. You know, people, they open up their car doors and they just let them rest, and they dent so easily. But you know, what are you gonna do? I am happy with this plastic liner. These Smitty built racks that you get for these, they actually come with J brackets, which suck them on to the bottom, but I would highly recommend to bolt them through. And by bolting, you're gonna make sure that these systems last a lot longer. And other than that, you know, full AC system, power locks, and you know, I can go through my tools. Yeah, so this is Big Bertha. She's been real good to me. I'm really happy with her for my daily driver. I mean, there's probably some more that I can add. I'll talk about a couple things that I do want to do. There's a big toolbox that's made by Weston. They've been on back order, and I want to put two of them right here. And they have one that's going to side mount that would fit perfect right here. That would allow me to get rid of this. And obviously I'd probably take this down if I had my two side boxes, because that's one thing that you know, would be really nice, is to be able to load up more tools and not have to go into the cab to grab my tools. But so far she's been great to me. You know, I'm fronting like this is a Harley Davidson model. If you know Ford, you know they do have a Harley Davidson model, but it is appropriate. I got the 5.0 emblem. When I did the wrap, I took some Bondo and I just went over the holes, and so I got this off of Amazon. This was just a 5.0 emblem that I used. We got the locking hubs right here. It's in free position right now because I'm not in four-wheel drive, but obviously four-wheel drive, and I want to, you know, go up to the snow and I'm going through some thick powder, I'll go ahead and lock them in. Drum brakes in the rear. Another thing that I would like to do is, when you add this much weight to the truck, the rack, the plywood, you got your tools in there, it's fully loaded up, the truck wants to go down, right? So imagine this. Go ahead and come to the front, come over here and take a look at this wheel. So when the truck goes down, the top of the wheel wants to go in like this, so that messes with your camber. So I'd highly recommend to, when you replace your ball joints, which should be done every 30 years before they snap if you're going to four-wheeling and going over speed bumps quick, is you want to replace your ball joints and put a camber kit on there and get an alignment, and then adjust them as close to zero, a little bit of negative camber. But if it's too excessive, you're going to have inner tire wear, and you're going to cause a lot more road noise. Another thing that I would like to adjust as well is you know, I need to bring a heat gun to this wrap, and it does seem to be bubbling in a couple different areas. But for the most part, if you talk to like a Ford technician, there's a lot of them online, they say, what's the most reliable Ford engine? Most of the techs are going to say the 5.0 was Ford's most reliable engine. That's why they ended up in the truck. They have, you know, obviously the car version, the truck version, the Saline. So the 5.0s are great engines. Once you learn them, then they're amazing. Come over here just because of the sun. And other than that, you know, I've been really happy with the 5.0. Plenty of power. I know these days people are complaining about not enough power. They get the diesels, they get all that stuff, but she's never been able to not do what I need her to do, essentially. If you run a construction company or you're always doing loads, I would make sure to put a diamond plate cover on the back of the tailgate as well. And yeah, so anyways, Big Bertha, she's pleased to meet you. She's been a good girl. Comment below if you have any questions, or tell me about some mods that I should do to her that she'd be grateful for. I'm sure she'd greatly appreciate it. And I appreciate you hitting the like button, subscribing if you want to check out some of my shorts. I'm really making an effort to do some more videos. I appreciate everybody's support. I'm here, I just want to, you know, help the world, fix stuff, and I just want to mind my own business and work, but also share some of the tricks and trades that I've learned along the ways. Again, thanks for watching. Hope you have a good day. Talk to you later. Bye.